Y'all got everything working? We're good? Are we live? Okay. Hello everybody! It is I, Towie830. I'm not gonna lie, I think I found my look, guys. A tie and a vest? This fucking guy. I look like I'm from the 70s. Fucking... What's his name? Pee Wee Herman? I look like Pee Wee Herman a little bit. Well, just a little bit. I look like a cool Mr. Pee Wee Herman. I look like I have girls with me at the porno theaters. Oh man, I'm a little nervous, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I asked Bill Burr to come through. I sent him an email. I even wrote him a song. No, y'all are not gonna know any of that. Y'all just have to know that I feel a type of way after sending them that email. And you know, I put a lot of work into it because they have like a thing where access ability denied if you send a link. And I imagine it's because someone's like jerking off and they're like, I love you, Bill Burr. I love you, Bill Burr. And you know, I'm so glad they're there to stop people like me from doing that and just sending videos to Bill Burr. Just, you know, glot, 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 glot. I know, anyway. Some notes on Martin Luther King's autobiography. Something I thought was interesting that I made a comment last time in one of my videos that Martin Luther King wrote a book. Actually, he did not. He did not. There is a book that says autobiography, but he technically never wrote the book because it's actually a bunch of different how do you say? He wrote a lot of different essays and stuff, you know, a lot of different stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm so fucking like, oh man, I'm so nervous about that Gmail I sent to fucking Bill Burr. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Where is late night show with Towie830? And you have to go. You have to go. If you don't go, you'll never know. So, some things I thought were interesting. It's actually edited by Claiborne Carson, and it's comprised of a lot of different anecdotes he wrote. You know, he never really was like, hey guys, my name is Martin Luther King, and I'm here to fucking tell you this and that. I grew up in motherfucking oh my god, where does it say he was born at? Fucking, I'm not that far with the book. I got this far. You know, a lot of it is just saying how the dude wrote the book. And he was like, earlier, you're like, why are you talking about it if you finished it? I don't know what the fuck else to talk about. You don't want to hear me rap right now. Fucking, but anyway, something I thought was interesting. I saw this line. It is quite easy for me. Martin Luther King, by the way. This is from his early years. I think that's what it's called. Or it doesn't have a title, but he wrote this, and I think it was, I have no idea where they got this text from, but he wrote it, and this is what it fucking says, okay? Okay. It says, it's quite easy for me to think of God, of love, mainly because I grew up in a family where love was central, and where lovely relationships were ever present, my fault. Fucking, I'm Bill Burr on my mind! It is quite easy for me to think of the universe as basically friendly, mainly because my uplifting hereditary and environmental circumstances. It is quite easy for me to lean more toward optimism than pessimism about human nature, mainly because of my childhood experiences. In my own life and in the life of a person who is seeking to be strong, you combine in your character fuck, it's... Don't start a book club if you can't read, guys. You combine your character and Theseus's strongly marked. I'm gonna post the word just so you see it. And if you are both militant and moderate, you are both idealistic and realistic. I think that my strong determination for justice comes from my very strong dynamic personality of my father, and I would hope that the gentle aspects come from my mother, who is gentle and sweet. And why'd I bring it up? Because Martin Luther King had a good life. Martin Luther King had a good life, right? Not necessarily a good life, you know, he was shot, whatever. But Martin Luther King had a nice upbringing. And by upbringing, I mean, like, the people around him, they showed him love, they showed him respect, they showed him care. They say in philosophy, a philosopher cannot be born in states of war, states of, aggression. You know, like, think about the Great Depression. There was no fucking philosophers there, you know what I'm saying? But Martin Luther King was in the Great Depression. He was born into the Great Succession, bro. The Great Depression, bro. And it's interesting to me reading this book because his mom and his dad in the book, they very clearly stated how much they hated the segregation, the racism, right? You're like, Taliator, I did not come here for this. Well, just shut the fuck up. You have, I ain't even got that far, bro. I just want to say a few things. Shut the fuck up. Let me talk about Martin Luther King, bro. This is a very serious channel. Look at the tie, bitch. And it's very interesting because Martin Luther King's father, Martin Luther King Sr., right? He grew up with the racism and the plantations and stuff. And there's a story on here about how he saw his dad, like, getting cut short on money when he was working for, like, I guess a racist plantation owner, right? And so it shows that an experience for his dad and his grandfather, Martin Luther King Jr.'s grandfather. So Martin Luther King Jr.'s dad was basically like, we're just gonna take it, you know? And that made fucking Martin Luther King Sr. fucking angry, and he fucking made it like, I'm gonna leave this farm, you know? I can find it. And before I say about the daddy, that's what it's called, by the way, daddy. Martin Luther King was a daddy boy. His mother did pass when he was young. I was so fucking wrong. She actually didn't die until after Luther King was assassinated. And she was actually assassinated too. You can't blame him. And you know, they had a good relationship. I'll talk more about that in a second. So, the mother was smart, right? I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to get into all that. It's not about the mom. It's not about the dad. It's about Martin Luther fucking King Jr. It's about Martin fucking Luther King Jr., guys. Put some fucking respect on his name, guys. Martin Luther King Jr., guys. Well, his mom and dad both hated the racism, and they told him that. Right? The mom expressed that even though that the world is cruel against you, is biased against you, is trying to tell you that you are less than it, you're not. You know, don't let the world tell you that. That's what Martin Luther King's mother said to him, right? And this is a story from Martin Luther King's fucking dad, right? And it was like a sharecropper's son. Sharecropper's son has met brutalities firsthand and had begun to strike back at an early age. His family lived in a little town named Stockbridge, Georgia, about 18 miles from Atlanta. One day, while working on the plantation, he neatly observed that the boss was cheating his father out of some hard-earned money. He revealed this to his father right in the presence of the plantation owner. When this happened, the boss angrily and furiously shouted, "Jim, if you don't keep this..." I'm not saying this just so I can say the N-word. Okay, guys? That's so fucking smart. Somebody pull it out the Martin Luther King book just so he can say the N-word. But I'm going to say it how it fucking says it. I'm going to say it how it fucking says it. So if you hate me, Tim Duncan, I'm sorry, baby girl. I'm sorry. This is what it says in quotations. I'm not... Martin Luther King fucking wrote this with his own fucking hand. His own fucking thing, bro. And it said... What happened to the boss angrily and fiercely shouted, "Jim, if you don't keep this nigger boy of yours in his place, I'm going to slap him down," right? And then that's what the plantation owner said. Grandfather, being almost totally dependent on the boss for economical security, surged dad to keep quiet. You're fucking dick riding Bill Burr. You just do that. You just drop the hard ER. It says it in the book, okay? Fucking that's Martin Luther King's fucking legacy here, guys. I'm not fucking... Look, it says... I promise you it says that. What if it didn't? I'm just fucking looking at the pages and this... I'm a serious man, but I like to laugh, you know? I fucking like to laugh. There's nothing funny about the N-word. And I mean, there's nothing funny about racism and segregation. Is there something funny about the N-word? Maybe a little bit. You know, the translation of the word, it came from, I can't tell you what it was, but it was a king. It was King African. If you want to know more about this, go check out Philosophy from fucking, is it Questlove? No, it's not Questlove. What the fuck is his name? Philosophy of Hip Hop by, what the fuck is his name? Tommy330 was like, I know a black guy, I swear to God, KRS-One, that's his name. Go check out Hip Hop Philosophy, the Philosophy of Hip Hop by KRS-One. You're like, did you just say the N-word and now you're shouting out to go, like, check out these people's philosophy? I guess. Look, man, I'm a very serious man, and I'm... Okay, I'm sorry I said the N-word like that. I'm not trying to be a dick. Maybe like, you know, I get it. But, I mean, we're in this fight together. This is a fight, guys. This is a fucking fight. This is a fight that black people were facing, you know? And it's funny to me, because I'm not black, you know? Maybe it's not a word that hurts me, you know? But fucking, it's funny to me a little bit. But I fucking, guys, do not disrespect the cause. Do not disrespect the game, bro. Fucking, look. Also, it says right here, Martin Luther King, if I had a problem, I could always call daddy. And I thought that was so funny. Because like I said, bro, they were living in the 70s. It was a way different time. Whole different slang and shit. If you look at the text and stuff and how he speaks, he fucking speaks how he talks, you know? But he talks like a smart fucking guy. Martin Luther King was a smart fucking man. And that's why when I'm trying to read it, I'm fucking having trouble trying to read it. Fucking look what he says. How could I love a race of people who hated me, right? And so I remember how friendship began to break as soon as we entered school. This was not my desire, but his friend, right? He was a white man. His father owned a grocery store in his neighborhood, right? And so they had a fucking grocery store, and a white guy owned it inside Martin Luther King's neighborhood that was predominantly black. And there was a white son, and Martin Luther King befriended the son. And so they would have fun. They would play around, right? And so after school started and they had to go to separate schools because of segregation, of course, right? He says, and I quote, I remember how our friendship began to break as soon as we entered school. This was not my desire but his. The climax came when he told me one day that his father has demanded that he would play with me no more. I will never forget what a great shock this was to me. I immediately asked my parents about the motives behind such a statement. You know, I immediately asked my parents about a fucking motive behind such a statement. You smart, redundant motherfucker. Oh my God, Martin Luther King Jr. Oh man, I hope that this fucking heals the country. But it's interesting because Martin Luther King, he was a very serious man. He said straight up what he said. You know, he didn't fucking beat around the bush. He didn't go all around fucking, how do you say, trying to, he didn't try to explain himself and who he is. He just said, isn't it fucked up it's like this? Because he fucking made it very clear that fucking his mother and his father were both telling him that it's the world. It's not you. You know what I'm saying? His mother was smart, had degrees, went to college. His dad was smart, was a preacher, went to college. And they both were fucking targeted for the color of their skin. They were both extraordinary smart people. And they were both targeted and prejudiced against for the color of their skin. For their race. For something they had no control of, right? And this is something Martin Luther King's father said. And he said he remembers this time when he was frustrated, right? What's the word? Okay, so he was pulled over by a police officer, right? Because he accidentally ran a stop sign, right? And he said, all right, boy, pull over. Let me see your license. My father instantly restored it. This is Martin Luther King Jr. My father instantly retorted. Motherfucker said retorted, not responded, not clapped back, not fucking. He said retorted. What the fuck does even retorted mean, bro? It's let me make it clear to you that you aren't talking to a boy. If you persist in referring to me as a boy, I will be forced to act as if I don't hear a word you're saying. Basically, I'm gonna beat your ass for calling me a boy. And the policeman was shook in hearing a Negro talk to him in such a forthrightly way, bro. Basically, straightforward. Oh my god, bro, he didn't quite know how to respond. He nervously wrote the ticket and left the scene as quickly as possible. Martin Luther King's father, a black man, told a police officer, "I will beat your ass." He didn't say it like that, but said basically, "Do not make me beat your fucking ass." And it worked. You know? And he said it was the angriest I ever been. Should I just read the whole book? No. Okay. The Angriest I Ever Been by Martin Luther King. There was a pretty strict system of segregation in Atlanta. For a long time, I could not go swimming until there was a Negro YMCA. That's fucked up. A Negro child in Atlanta could not go to any public park. I could not go to so-called white schools. In many of the stores downtown, I couldn't go to a lunch counter to buy hamburgers or a cup of coffee. I could not attend any of the theaters. There was 1 or 2 Negro theaters, but they didn't have any of the main pictures. If they did get them, they got them 2 or 3 years later. When I was about 8 years old, I was in one of the downtown stores in Atlanta, and all of a sudden someone slapped me. And the only thing I heard was somebody saying, "You are that nigger that stepped on my foot." And it turned out to be a white lady. Of course, I didn't retaliate at any point. I wouldn't dare retaliate when a white person was involved. I think some of it was a part of my native structure. That is, that I have never been one to hit back. I finally told my mother what happened, and she was pretty upset. But the lady who slapped me was gone, and my mother and I left the store immediately. That's fucked up. Maybe he was guilty and didn't want to admit that he stepped on the foot, but he just said from his point of view that she just came out of nowhere, said, you stepped on my foot. And you know how fucking mad I would be if someone did that shit to me? Oh my god. And I didn't do nothing. I'd be fighting. Look, I'm not black, but I can put myself in the shoes of the fucking, what's the word? The oppressed, the fucking, what's the word? The underdog. What do you call them? The oppressed, right? That's the fucking word, right? The oppressed, when elites, when people are trying to take groups and make them feel less as what they are. Because, I mean, it didn't just happen with black people. It happened with the Jews. It happened with the Irish. Oh, the Irish got fucked bad, dude. Because you think black people had it bad, bro. Black people had it bad, yeah, but the Irish, bro. Literally, they would get married, right? And the king declared, like, you know what? Anytime y'all want to get married, then my royal bloodline has to come and impregnate your wife as the consummation of your marriage. And fucking, I'm not saying that the fucking morality scale that the Irish have dealt with more suffering than black people. No, this is not at all a fucking comparison of suffering. This is an underlining fucking, how do you say, comprehensive. I'm trying to comprehend that we all suffer. We're all going through it. You know, I relate to Martin Luther King not because I'm black, but because I understand the struggle. I understand the struggle of being fucking told that you are not better than everyone fucking else. That you know, and Martin Luther King's a fucking genius. His parents were genius. And he grew up watching them be constantly fucking degraded for the color of their skin, for fucking nothing, for being born African, because the people of their bloodlines decided that life is so precious, we're gonna fucking keep our bloodline going. And fucking Martin Luther King, the reason why I bring up Martin Luther King, I don't know, I just found the book at Goodwill. I wanted to talk about it. I had no idea it was gonna say the N-word, but I mean, I'm here reading the book, bro, and I wrote on my notes, because Martin Luther King talks heavily about his relationship with the church, right? Because he was a preacher. He was a preacher, and he was in the church forever. His father was a preacher. His grandfather was a preacher. His, I don't know if his great-grandfather was a preacher, but his only brother was a preacher. So he had to be, like, you know, used to it, you know? And He was angry. He was angry with the fact everything was going on. He was angry that people were calling him a fucking nigger to his face, bro. They were angry that people judged him for that. You know, for what? Being born black. I know. I sound like the white lady from fucking Chris Rock right now. What's that show called? Everybody Hates Chris. What's her name? Mrs. I don't know. It's okay. You can call me racist. You can call me stupid. You can call me a fucking, what's the word? Woke. I'm fucking woke. I can say the N-word because I'm woke. No, bitch. You shouldn't say the N-word at all. The only reason, like, fucking, I don't know. I really try hard not to say the N-word because, like, it's not, like, if I grew up with it, you know what I'm saying? I'd probably say it, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I did say the N-word for a couple years. I thought it made me look cool. It didn't. It doesn't. The N-word is not a cool word. It is never going to be a funny, cool word. You know, it's only funny because it's triggering. It's only funny because it's edgy. It's like, if the N-word makes you laugh, it's like Family Guy dark humor. It's not funny because it's funny. It's funny because nobody fucking does that. Nobody does that, you know? And unfortunately, people don't recognize, how do you say, what is real? What is funny, right? What is a joke? People don't recognize that because I can sit here and joke about segregation and joke about racism and joke about Martin Luther King and stuff, but some people might not recognize that I'm joking, you know? And some people are so dumb that they'll listen to me and they'll be all like, are you sure? And then they'll fucking go their whole life off whatever I said, and they're all like, oh, that guy said it, so I'm in the clear. I think I might go over 30 minutes on this video. I'm not that far with the book. Fucking, am I gonna... This is just a book club? Okay, you know what? We're taking a break from the book. We're taking a break for the book. But, before I do, I want to say I did write something in my notes. I remember the experience I had. This is why I wrote it. I remember another experience I used to have. I remember another experience I used to have in Atlanta. I went to high school on the other side of town, to Booker T. Washington High School, and I had to get the bus, and what was known as the 4th Ward and ride over on the west side. In those days, rigid patterns of segregation existed on the buses, so that Negroes had to sit on the back of the buses. Whites were seated in the front, and often, if whites didn't get on the buses, those seats were still reserved for whites only. So Negroes had to stand Negroes had to stand over empty seats. I would end up having to go to the back of the bus with my body. But every time I got on the bus, I left my mind in the front seat. And I said to myself, one of these days I'm going to put my body up there where my mind is. Are you fucking kidding me, bro? That is such a powerful fucking message, bro. Not just like, you know, not just like a story about someone overcoming something. You know, that's like an example you use for manifestation, bro. Martin Luther King was set up to literally change the world by his family, by his parents, by everybody, you know? And the reason why I bring this up is because we cannot have an alliance. These are my words. Martin Luther King wrote this before I could say this. We cannot have an enlightened democracy with one great group living in ignorance. We cannot have a healthy nation with 1/10 of people ill-nourished, sick, harboring germs of diseases while recognizing no color lines, obey no Jim Crow laws. We cannot have a nation orderly and sound with one group so ground down and thwarted that it is almost forced into social attitudes and crime. Unsocial attitudes and crime. We cannot be truly Christian people so long as we flout the central teachings of Jesus. F-L-O-U. Flout. I don't know what that means. I should have studied a little bit more before this, you know. I imagine in context, we cannot be truly Christian people so long as we, I guess, not follow the teachings of Christ. Misteach? I don't know. Brotherly love and the golden rule. We cannot come to full prosperity with one great group so ill-delayed that it cannot buy goods. So as we grind ourselves to defend democracy from foreign attacks, let us see that increasingly at home we give fair play and free opportunity for all people. Today, 13 million black sons and daughters of our forefathers continue to fight for the translation of the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment, for writing on the printed page to an actuality. Forgive me. We believe with them that if freedom is good for any, it is good for all, and that we may conquer southern armies by the sword, but it is another thing to conquer southern hate, that if the franchise is given to Negroes, they will be vigilant and defend, even with their arms, the ark of federal liberty from treason and destruction by her enemies. And I think that's so beautiful. I think this book is beautiful, I'm not gonna lie. I wrote in my notes, let me and my fucking people go. That's all I thought when I was listening to Martin Luther King. He sounded like Moses, you know? He sounded like he had fucking Moses. I know I said I'm done. But look, this is the last thing I'll say, right? This is the last thing I say. As if the curtain has been dropped on my selfhood. I don't really know how to translate that. I imagine the curtain fell before my eyes. You know, I can see past the curtain, right? Just before going to college, I went to Simsbury, Connecticut, and worked for a whole summer on a tobacco farm to earn a little school money to supplement what my parents were doing. One Sunday, we went to church in Simsbury, and we were the only Negroes there. On Sunday morning, I was the religious leader and spoke on any text I wanted to. 107 boys. I had never thought that a person of my race could eat anywhere, but we ate in one of the finest restaurants in Hartford. After the summer in Connecticut, it was a bitter feeling going back to segregation. It was hard to understand why I couldn't ride wherever I pleased on the train from New York to Washington, and then had to come change the Jim Crow car at the nation capital in order to continue the trip to Atlanta. The first time that I was seated behind a curtain in a dining car, I felt as if the curtain had been dropped on my selfhood. I could never adjust to the separate rating rooms, separate eating places, separate rest rooms, partly because the separate was always equal, and partly because the very idea of separation did something to my sense of dignity and self-respect. And I wrote in my notes, they're going to bully, rape, kill whoever we let them. They are the we refuse to acknowledge, you know? And I'll go back to that. But this is the email that I was talking about that showed that Martin Luther King had a great relationship with his dad, right? Dear Father. Fucking Martin Luther King, bro. Fucking, I don't know. Dear Father, I am very sorry I am so long about writing, but I have been working most of the time. We were really having a fine time here, and the work is very easy. We have to get up every day at 6 o'clock. We have very good food, and I am working kitchen, so you see, I get better food. Martin Luther King was a jokester. We have service here every Sunday about 8 not a.m. It just says 8 o'clock. I'm the religious leader. We have boy choir here, and we're going to sing on the air soon. Damn, on live TV. Sunday I went to church in Simsbury, and it was a white church. I could not get to Hartford to church, but I'm going to next week. On our way here, we saw something I never anticipated to see. After we passed Washington, there was no discrimination at all. The white people here are very nice. We go to any place we want and sit anywhere we want to. Tell everybody I said hello, and I'm still thinking of the church and reading my Bible. I'm not doing anything that I would not do in front of you. Your son. That's fucking wild, man. Like I said, this book, Martin Luther King didn't officially write himself. There is a bunch of different passages, a bunch of different essays and stuff he wrote, not only about race, but about faith and stuff like that. And Mr. fucking Claiborne Carson, credit to Claiborne Carson, you know, organized and put it in such a way where it can tell a story of Martin Luther King's life, you know? Martin Luther King never wanted his life like that in a biography, so I just want to say I'm sorry, Mr. Luther King. I'm sorry, Mr. Luther King, that, I don't know, we mixed up the message. I'm sorry. But fucking, like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend this message is only for black people. That this message here about inequality and civil rights is only for his people. Because his people is not only black people. His people is people of God. People of the Christian faith. People of Jesus Christ, you know? And however you might associate yourself in that regards, you know, he said it himself. We cannot be followers of Christian Jesus Christ without following the fucking rules of Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? Fucking, like, how can, you know, Jesus say, respect your slaves and respect your owner type shit, and then we go to segregation, you know, in the worst way type shit. The 70s, man, the fucking 70s. I don't know. I really don't know, guys. I'm not a historian. I just read a book and I'm talking about it. Fucking, I haven't read that far. I read it from page 14. Maybe I'll say something interesting more. This is what I wrote with my notes. This is what I wrote with my notes whenever I was reading it, and I was like, that sounds pretty good. Let me translate it. And I was just playing. I don't know. I just wrote it. Non-cooperation with evil is just as important as cooperating with good. That's what Martin Luther King said. He said that it's somewhere in the book. I'm not picking it back up because I don't... I'm probably going to say the N-word again and laugh, and I don't want to piss anybody off. Non-cooperation with evil is just as important as cooperation with good. Martin Luther King, right? And I wrote, black and white is not as easy as it sounds, because guilt, pride, lust, any reason that would hold us accountable for our actions, we try to justify we can never be wrong. But that only makes us more wrong. You know, when you hate, you're showing your people it's okay to act like this. And when you accept hate, you teach your brothers and sisters that it's okay to be treated like that. And that's all I wrote. And then I'm not gonna lie, I got tuckered out. I read it for a good hour. I'm gonna pick it back up. Am I gonna talk about it again? If it says anything interesting, I'm not gonna host a fucking book club. I was really trying to read the whole fucking book today as a guy who never reads books. And I was like, oh my god, Martin Luther King. Everybody, actually, deadass, much respect to Martin Luther King and fucking his mission, bro. Anybody that disrespect Martin Luther King can suck my dick. I give you not one fuck. Martin Luther King, R.I.P. I know you're resting with the Most High. I hope that you look on this video, and I don't know, I invite Martin Luther King to be here in spirit for this whole video. If Martin Luther King, if you feel like I've done anything wrong, please tell me. Please slap me across my face, you know. And like I said, guys, I'm not a fucking white man, so I'm not some woke guy. I'm a Latino. I'm a Latino. You know, why are you not speaking Spanish? You know, hables español. I don't have to fucking speak Spanish to know where I come from, you know. I have difficulty learning Spanish. I don't know why, you know. Me gustas, you know, Latinas. I can't speak Spanish for shit. I don't know. And maybe that's why I guess I lean toward more to black culture, black civil rights stuff, because I understand what they're saying, you know. I fucking try to understand what the Mexicans are talking about, what the Spanish are talking about, but they look at me like I'm fucking stupid. Like I'm not supposed to be there. Like, okay, fuck y'all then, you know. Much love, much respect, but I mean, we don't speak the same language. I get it, you know. I get it. But the thing about Martin Luther King and the segregation and all that, they spoke the same language, you know. And so how come fucking the South, motherfucking where Martin Luther King was so different from New York, right? New York of all places, you know. So everybody was against black people here, you know. But now New York is up here, like, oh, black people or whatever, you know. But fucking now look at New York. New York sucks. New York hates everybody, you know. And I'm not saying the South is any better. I don't know, really. Fucking, they still talk about like racism and stuff like that, because it is a real thing. Racism, segregation, all of that stuff, it is a real thing. Why am I talking about this? Because I fucking love black women. I kid you not. I see black women all the time, and you might be thinking that's a fetish, that's fucking creepy, that's fucking bad. Why is it bad? I got a thing for black chicks. That's fucking bad? Fuck you. I mean, shit, let me, baby girl. Ain't nothing wrong with this shit. Fuck it. Let me come fucking, actually, like, I don't know. I'm racist. I already said it, but I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm racist. And on the 14 pages I read of Martin Luther King's book, I'd say it's worth the weed. It's worth the weed, guys. It's worth the weed. Not the reed. The weed. The weed. Everybody. Stop smoking weed. Go and weed. I'm trying to tap dance around saying the N-word, but I mean, I don't give a fuck, guys. This channel's not sponsored. I'm not getting any sponsorships. Nobody's gonna give me money for this shit. And you know what, guys? Did I waste your time? No, I didn't. Because you know why? I brought back one of the most important fucking figures in history, Dr. fucking Martin Luther King. And you know what's funny? You know what he's looking at? Fucking Gandhi! You know what I'm saying? You know what that means? You know what that fucking means? That means nobody great comes from out of fucking nowhere. Great inspires greatness. Have you ever heard of the great man theory? I might have said it already, but if you don't know, Adolf Hitler was inspired by, what's his name? Fucking Napoleon Bonaparte. That's his name, Napoleon, right? Adolf Hitler was inspired by Napoleon and his tactical fucking achievements. His fucking war. He fucking took over all of France. It was. Look, I'm not a historian, but I know historians. They talk about it, and they say motherfucking Napoleon was like one of the greatest fucking leaders ever. And and he was inspired by Alexander the Great. And Alexander the Great conquered most of the fucking world. Oh, a lot of it. Fucking Alexander the Great, motherfucker. I'm gonna start calling myself that. Towie 830 the Great. Fucking dude. Okay, Hitler, calm down. Fucking. But no, Alexander the Great was inspired by Achilles, right? Achilles is the borderline, what do you say, where fiction met man, because Achilles was a real person, but was he a god? Was he a god? He told himself that he was the son of Zeus, therefore he acted like he was a god. He acted like he was better than people, in such a way that didn't, I don't know, I don't know, there's a lot to it, there's a lot to a great man. There's a lot of suffering that you'll never see, that they put away. You know how strong a great man has to be to not hold in all that hate, to not hold in all that anger. So I ask you guys, I ask you to remember Martin Luther King Jr. You're like, this fucking guy only read 14 pages of the book, dropped the N-word and left. Wasted 40 minutes of my fucking time. Did I make you laugh? No. Oh, disappointment produces despair, and despair produces bitterness. Look, I could be mad that I'm a fucking, what's the word, a Gentile. Is that what you call him? A goy? I could be mad I'm a goy. I could be mad that I'm not, Chinese. The Chinese are gonna take over the fucking world, dude. You think I'm lying, but no, they're next. They are next. The fucking Chinese. Guys, Chinese men, Chinese women, I know that you're never gonna let me have your women, but if you can at least just give me, give me a doghouse in front of your house, I'll fucking... There's a fucking story about somebody during World War II on the British side. He was saying that the Germans had an understanding. He had an understanding of where the Germans were coming from for what they were doing. And that was before, how do you say, they did all the Jew shit. They did all the Nazi shit. Before they were Nazis, right? When they were first going to war, they were, I gotta figure out his name. I'll fucking look up his name and put it here in the editing, right? But, this fucking guy had a podcast, a radio show maybe, I don't know, he was just speaking into a vocal, he was speaking into a mic, right? But he was saying that things were getting to the point where it was no longer freedom, It was no longer freedom. It was no longer... The rules that they already had, that everybody could do, were being taken away, right? And so they knew that the direction they were going was a state of overwhelming dominance. Overwhelming fucking sovereignty from the fucking Not necessarily even the king. It was the banks. They were worried about the fucking banks, man. Because they knew that the banks had all the fucking resources. Because they were fucking supplying the fake money to all of the companies that were making real resources. And all the real resources were now in debt to these fake companies with this fake magic, you know. Gaslighted these fucking real men. They gaslighted real fucking men. Now, was it the Jews' fault? No. Not just because they were Jewish, you know, not because they were Jewish, but those specific fucking people, the bankers, those specific bankers that were Jewish, fuck them. Fuck those specific Jews, okay? I'm not saying that every single Jew, everybody wearing a Star of David, everybody that is, you're like, Tommy, you just said the N-word, and now you're saying you hate Jews. Look, it's a late night show, guys. I should have wrote a script. I'm going off script. I don't hate Jews. I don't hate the Jewish population. No. I hate people that do bad shit. I hate people that do bad shit and act like they did it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they did poison the well, but damn it, if they did, of course they would lie about it. You know? You're not going to admit to poisoning the well type shit. And I'm not saying this because I want people to go out there and hate Jews. I'm not saying this because I want people to go around saying the fucking N-word and shit. I'm not saying this stuff because I think I'm special and I can get away with all this crazy shit. You know, I'm fucking not special. Martin Luther King is not fucking special. You know, Jesus Christ, he acted like he wasn't special, you know. He's like, he never said like, I'm the son of God, yeah. I'm the son of God, yeah. He never said that shit. He said, get up, my fucking brother. Get up, my fucking sister. This is no place to die. Yes. Fucking Avenger Endgame reference. We're in the fucking Endgame, guys. Don't forget it. Don't forget all the people that fucking gave you life, guys. Gave you fucking life. Gave you fucking the chance to breathe. And I had a whole instrumental here waiting to fucking play so I can fucking, what's the word? Rap for you. So I can rap for you. But I got so caught up in Martin Luther King's autobiography. Or is it an autobiography? Because it's not really an autobiography. It's not. Okay, but anyway, look, we're gonna end this off on a good positive note. I'm a fucking viber. I fucking vibe. I rap. And I rap. And bitch, I'm coming for your soul. And I'm getting fucking cold. I'm bringing the heat. Yeah, I'm sorry. But I'm getting the story told, bitch. Coming in the cold shit. Coming with that hypnosis molded. No. I split this shit up like what you call that shit? Mitosis. Oh no. Okay, I'm coming with that TikTok. That hard to fucking knock down type shit. I'm strong like Martin Luther fucking King. You wanna get in the ring with fucking me? Okay. Look, I'm bringing the hook. I'm bringing the punches. I ain't holding them back. I ain't holding that stack. If you give me that, I'ma burn it, bitch. I'll show you how to fucking turn the world. I'll show you how to carry that shit like a Atlas. I don't know why I even fucking bother. I don't know. You're not gonna get it. And I don't fucking care, because it's a Tally Atheist show, and all we fucking do is get rich. All we do is fucking get money, and all we do is get paper. All we do is get bitches, and all we fucking do is make you smile, make you laugh. And none of this is supposed to be for hate. None of this is supposed to create anything besides peace, love, and joy, and harmony, you know? But the words are words. Are you gonna let the words hurt you? Are you gonna be a bitch and let the words hurt you? Fuck that. There's nothing to come to mind. I think my time is up. Everybody's waiting for me outside, and I know once this beat ends that I'm gonna die. So this is the end of the video, guys. You shouldn't see me like that. They're gonna fucking cut my head off. They're gonna cut me into little pieces. You see every fucking thing I am, they're gonna chop me up. They're gonna chop me up and fucking make me into mincemeat. And they're gonna fucking keep my blood, and they're gonna fucking use it for their satanist fucking rituals and stuff, you know? But I'm not gonna let them. You best believe when I open that door, fucking, I'm fighting them. I'm slamming this fucking guitar on their fucking head. You got me fucked up. I'm gonna let you kill me? No. And that's why I'm unkillable. So let the beat ride. I know that my time is coming. And they know that. They can't fuck with me. And that's why they feel they need to kill me. fuck is Towie 3-0?